cost efficiency, because you don't have to acquire the infrastructure, the hardware required to run sort of like applications or anything like that. So you're essentially saving on that cost. Instead, you can use whatever storage or computing capabilities that you need and only pay for that. So it's a pay as you use basis, so you don't have to pay for things that you didn't actually use. Now, the second benefit is scalability. Now, the main thing about this is that sometimes you don't really know whether your business is going to be doing well, or maybe your business is going to be doing bad. So you don't really know the demand or the amount of pressure that would be put on your IT infrastructure. Now, the nice thing about cloud computing is that when the demand is high for your resources, or maybe your applications are in high demand, you know that you can always get more resources, or when demand is low, you can always scale down on the resources. As a result, you're not going to pay for resources that you do not need, and it makes it easy for you as a company to either scale up or scale down. Now, the third benefit is around reliability and high availability. Now, because this sort of like cloud computing provides you with like redundancy, so that means that you can have more than sort of one resource dedicated, or even have backups on your data. So if your data is deleted on some other storage, you know that you can always get the data back from another sort of like storage. So that backup and recovery is something very important. And what Microsoft and the other cloud providers have essentially done is that they've made it very much possible to have access to these resources 24/7, as they ensure that these resources are operating 24/7 literally. So that's another benefit. So you know that your application is always going to be running unless something very hectic actually happens to AWS or Azure. But yeah, the last benefit relates to security and compliance. Now, security and compliance is about how do you build your infrastructure in such a way that is compliant with regulations like GDPR or the ISO. Now, traditional sort of like on-prem environments tend to struggle with that, but with using cloud computing, you know that companies like AWS already built their infrastructure in line to sort of comply with sort of whatever regulations that is out there. And on top of that, they already have tools, or have sort of like built tools that allow you to achieve compliance within their environment. So it tends to be very much possible to achieve compliance requirements when using these platforms. And in addition to that, they also offer security sort of like applications like Microsoft Defender that protects your environment. And you've got other very important SIEM solutions that essentially ensure that whatever log activities that are created within your environment can be stored and retained for whatever purposes. So it really does help you achieve compliance.